Hello engineers, and welcome back to another episode of Automated. Today we are going for World 3, Level 3, the Lantern King, 5 stars. Let's do it. Alright, finally we have a multi-level map with a bunch of different resources. Anything with squiggly lines on them? Okay, nothing has squiggly lines on it. Our final receiver is all the way out to the left here. What is this material? It is glass. That's new. What are we trying to manufacture? Solar lanterns. So this is a maintenance level, and maintenance levels basically, to finish them quickly, means we need to start production ASAP, but we don't actually have to deliver anything to this. It doesn't matter if we deliver it or not. So we can largely ignore the delivery and focus on production. So to produce 120 per minute, obviously we will need 2 manufacturers. Let's open this up to see how complex this production chain is and what alternative recipes we have. So straight up into a manufacturer, we've got the glass and the concrete. Let's have a look at where the glass and the concrete are. There's the glass. There's the concrete. So we've got the glass and concrete sorted. We just need to worry about the production of solar panels. And we know there's a couple of different ways to do solar panels. I believe this is the easiest. And we would need double the solar panels. We need 120, but there is no recipe. Oh, there is a recipe that gives 120, but it involves this. Or we can do a simpler recipe and just double it up. Do we have plastic for this recipe? We do have 240 plastic, and it's actually coming out as plastic, so that would be the simpler recipe for that. Do we have oil? Oil, we have oil over here. Great. And can we make... Hold on one second. We need double this. And we need 120 plastic frames in here. So we need 240 of this. We do have 240 of that. So that's pretty much set for us. Now, finally, for the solar cell. We've got this method of doing it. Or this method of doing it. Which uses the oil as well. Which is what we want. But do we have the silicon? Because we need double of this, 120, right? So that's 2 welders, or alternatively 2 manufacturers, which just seems silly. So 2 welders would need double of this, which means we need 240 silicon. Do we have 240 silicon somewhere? We do. Fantastic. It's very important to pick the right recipes going into this to make things a little bit easier, and I think we're going to go with this. All right? So we won't worry about this manufacturer at the end. Let's just try to make this polycrystalline silicate first with the silicon. So it goes into a dissolution chamber with oil. That's it. Let's try to put this here to remind myself. So let's distill the oil first to see where it would come out. Here. And the oil is going to be used in a dissolution chamber here, as well as the final dissolution chamber. That's fine. Let's get the silicon with the oil first. To get it started instantly, we want to do it at the silicon because liquids travel instantly. So let's just go with the extreme for now, and then we'll see where that goes. So the extreme would be putting it here, which means we need a really long pipe this way. And that gets us our 60. But we need more than 60. We need 120. That just means we need to move this out one, put another one here, one more there, hook up the liquids, and then hook it up to there. Kind of want to get it out of the way though. Like that. Oh, why'd you do that? There we go. And that's our 120 of that. Now we need 120 of this, which is aluminum into a cutter. 120 aluminum into a cutter makes 60, but we need 120, 240. We have all of the aluminum in the world here. So if we put this in, that's 2 belts of 240. Cutters will give us 60, 60, which is enough for 1. So we need to split this again. Like that. There's all of our aluminum. And that needs to go into 2 welders. So I put one welder here. We can get the output of this, say, like right there. And then we can get this one, say, right there. That doesn't do well for this thing. So we'd have to move this cutter out to the side a little bit. Like that. We have to upgrade this belt to get the full output. But that allows us to put another welder probably like right here. And then that can go in. Thinking there's a better way to do the welders. If we were going to do this anyway, wouldn't we put one welder like here? If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. Like that, and then like that is one. I still feel like that's not efficient. And then the second welder can just go, say, here. And if we're going to have to get this out anyway, it's going to need to loop over something. So something like this. And then we can put a lift anywhere. Like this. And we'll put the lift like this. And then we'll lift this over to this side. This is not the most optimal way to do it, but sorry, that should be here. That should be here. And that should be here. This is not the most optimal way to do it, but it is a way. We could probably reorder this around better somehow. But at least that gets us our 120 solar cells. Now we need to get our 120 of this. 240 of this. So this is coming out at 240. We ultimately just need to put it into 4 furnaces. So we need a split, split, and then split. We can put a furnace here, here. Maybe we should do it like here and here. And then maybe something like here and here. That would work. There's our 120 and 120 belts. And finally, that just needs to go into 2 dissolution chambers to get double this output. Wait, what are we trying to make again? 120 per minute, yeah. So, the output of that needs to go into a dissolution chamber with this. So I would like to center this as much as possible then. Like here and here is like kind of a center point for it. Then one of these belts can go in here, another one can go in here. And probably best we put that one here, and then we get that going like that. Then we put a lift here. Do we need a lift? We do need a lift. We'll need a lift somewhere, so we might as well put the lift here. And then we need to bring it up this side. So we would need a lift somewhere along here, probably like this. Can't see how this lines up. Something like that. And into here. The output of these two go into here and here. Now, the final piece of the puzzle is this thing, which the oil needs to come up and feed these two. So I'm going to grab some pipe, and then maybe we can extend it out this way and then down. Can't join these up. There we go. Get rid of the excess piping. And that gets us our 120 of the... So what are we trying to make? 120 of the solar panel, right? So that's 2 belts of solar panel. They need to go into manufacturers each with this. And that's going to use this. So we need 2 belts of this. And we need 2 belts of this. Which currently is... this thing's in the way. So we'd have to pipe this around the back. Like that. Then we need to split 2 belts of this. But we will split it into the manufacturer accordingly. So what's the best way to do a manufacturer? Now I kind of want to face this the other way, because the output of that needs to go into a manufacturer with these things, and it's better to just put the manufacturer here, right? And then we can drag a really long belt that way. So if we cut all this out and just like rotate it, actually, a good way to do this would be actually just be able to face it here. Because what we can do is put a lift like that, and then we can put a lift like this. That way it'll go straight in, right? Then if we just did that, and that should get us our solar panels. Cutting out this, we can do something like this. And what is your problem? You don't have an input now. Ah, this thing is so annoying. I can't cut the belt to this thing. So that means I need to move everything up 1 tile. Which still works. We can just drag this along here now. Cut out this. Oh. That still works. And there's our 120, which we need to probably lift somewhere now. But that's okay, because we're going to need to do a lot of lifting for our 2 manufacturers that are going to be making this. So how do we do a pattern of 2 manufacturers that share so many components? 1 component can definitely go in here like that. I feel like if we get the output out like this into a lift of some sort, we can wire around the back some other components. Because for example, we can do something like this. And that can go around like this now, which leaves most of this open. So if we did something like this, that can go into here and here. But if we move this back, say 1 tile, like that, and that, leaving enough room for a lift over here would be a decent design. Something like this. And then we would link up this section, and there would be our final output, which is being outputted into a lift here to be brought over to our exit. And how we bring it over to the exit doesn't matter, because we're just trying to do maintenance here. So like that would be a solution. We're under power, but can we do it in 1:50 or less? Oh, that's not possible. Hold on, trying to get this done in 1:50. We have to maintain delivery for 60 seconds. So we only have 50 seconds for this whole system to wear up. So 60 seconds of this 1:50. So by the 1 minute 10 mark, we need to start hitting this production. Let's just try it and see how far off we are. This isn't even working for some reason. Why did that take so long to start up? We're definitely hitting the 120, but did we get it in time? Definitely not, because this ring is... We're way off. Yeah. We're under the power, but things took oh, I didn't mean to go to the next level. Maintain and deliver. Am I wrong about the delivery needing to be there? Let's see when this starts crafting. So if we run this, and then we slow it down and see when this actually starts crafting something. So we're kind of starting now. As soon as it starts crafting, okay, now we're at 120, but the timer hasn't actually started until we deliver it. I'm wrong. So, the delivery timer starts when you first deliver the item. See how the green timer starts? So, when I said the length of how long we need to deliver this to doesn't matter, I'm completely wrong about that. Which means we need to re-engineer this solution, but all of this stuff needs to be moved closer to delivery. So, let's do that. But if we look at our recipe, right? One of the main issues is going to be bringing this material and this material into manufacturers. So whether we manufacture it here and then bring the final output as one belt out to here, or whether we just manufacture it here, makes no difference. Like if we put our manufacturers all the way over here, then we need to bring this thing and this thing all the way to this side. So it makes no sense to do it that way. What makes a lot more sense if we now re-engineer this a little bit, let me get rid of this part here, is we want to start like moving product over to this direction ASAP, right? So I think ultimately we need to juggle between where these two intersect, which I believe is most efficient here. Something like this, right? And instead of messing up the front, because we want this belt to be ultimately something that looks like this, that is our final belt, right? We don't want to mess with this. Now, in terms of this being transported over, is it better to transport it as a, because we've got options now, we can upgrade this stuff. Is it better to transport as a single unit or into separate units is my question. Because for example, now we can put a belt like this. And then if we put our lift, something like that, that's this one in, right? Like that. Except it will be more efficient if we flip this way, brought this over to this side, and then made that a straight line. Why am I getting so many exclamation marks? I don't understand. Anyway, that's fine. Now, this stone. This is still going to be... We'll do the stone last, because technically we can just do the stone like this. But we still need to put in the third manufacturer's thing here. So that would mean a second lift like this, which is not the best thing to do. So I think probably best to do something like split it here. No, this doesn't work either. We could always shift it up one if we need to. Which means after these come out, we need to bring this solar panel section into a dissolution chamber with the plastic somewhere. I still think it's best to do it here. But we just gotta work on this intersection a little bit better. So like that. So it's still two dissolution chambers, but we probably want to face them this direction, like that. And then we want to put this in like this still. And it would be better to do something like this. And line this one up with this one. Like that. Then we need this plastic out this way. This plastic out this way. And then we just need to figure out the water piping, or the oil piping, I should say. So the oil piping is definitely going around this direction. We can go around the back or we can go up and over. That's something we can optimize later. But let's see if we can weave a liquid pipe somewhere here. That works out nicely. What are you missing? This thing. So we need to do that. Now we've got this thing out. We just need to get it onto the other side. And again, there's like not much room to do this. We'd have to use this level. Something like this. But if we use this level, it kind of screws with this one. We'd have to bring this around the back, which seems silly. Let's just do that for now. That just seems stupid. There's got to be a better way to get that to there. But the point of doing that was to get this over. So we can do something like that. Now into these manufacturers, we've got the silicon, right? So that's 2 of the materials down. We just need to get the stone in now. So like this, like that, there, and there. And there's our bucket stuff. Now we know that we definitely need to do the upgrade. So let's just upgrade this entire belt and see if we're still under power. Now we're way over power. But did we get the time that we want? Let's observe when this starts up and what it's missing. So the stone's definitely in. I can't see if this plastic crap is in because you can barely see the plastic. I think the plastic is definitely in. We're just waiting for this to get started. And that is starting up now. And with that starting up, everything is going. And I think we are under time. I don't think we're under time. I think this is terrible. Not too bad. We're 5 seconds over time. This is a new record for used power. I thought my power was worse than this. But we haven't got it in the 915 power and we're 5 seconds out still. So where can we do improvements? Probably here. So our solution is fairly close. But what we're doing, interestingly enough, that's weird, is that we were putting our manufacturers here to minimize the distance of these 2 things' travel time. But these 2 things are not limiting our starting point, so we really want our manufacturers, say, here and here. Now, that's going to present a whole bunch of challenges because, for example, this stuff over here is going to need to change a little bit. This and this needs to merge together into 2 dissolution chambers at some point. Like here and here, for example. And these dissolution chambers are going to need the plastic as well as this thing. I like this thing just going directly into it, right? I'm going to just create some space over here so I can work with any lifts and stuff I might need. Now, can these directly wire into here without interrupting anything? Kind of. What if I just moved this like 2 more tiles into here? Because then the output of these 2 dissolution chambers can go directly into here. One of these 2 can go directly into here. And then the other one will have to do something weird and janky and split and then go around the dissolution chambers. But to get the plastic into the dissolution chambers is not the easiest thing in the world. I've just moved my plastic thingy around a little bit to get it slightly closer. But that would have to do that. And then this would have to go here. Then this would have to go up. So that would get my plastic in. And then like, let's just connect this to see what I'm doing. So that gets me my 2 solar panels, which is great, or the polycrystalline silicate. Is there an easier way to do this? To get just silicon? Because I'm not using silicon at the moment. That's salt. Okay. So that gets me my solar panels into actual solar panels. So that, I think, is correct. So that's the first of the 3 components in. The second of the 3 components in needs to be one of these and one of these. So somehow this 240 or this 120 needs to go in. So we can either do one big belt in. Either way, the lifts here are going to be pretty insane because there's no real way I can do this, right? Let's work backwards. Where can I even fit a lift here? It would be here. Because of these 2 dissolution chambers being here, it's actually really hard to fit lifts into here. They'd have to be 1 higher lift to pass over the dissolution chambers. So there's 1 in. Oops. And the other lift, all of these would have to be lifts. Like that. Like that. That's another lift. And then we'd need a 3rd lift over here, or we can route something around the back. But that seems like insanity. So we'd have to do something like this here as well. Then that goes in. 3 lifts. Oh, that's just nasty. So if we bring a belt over here, I think this middle lift is best suited for this thing. So say I brought this pretty close, and then I put a lift up here and connected this to the middle lift like this. I mean, that's great. Now we should have 2 materials in. We just need to get the 3rd material into both of these lifts. That just seems really terrible to do. So we need a lift like here and another lift like here, but that intersects this. So this lift would need to be even higher, like 1 more higher. Let's just put it in for now and see where the optimization is required. So that goes there. And that goes there. And then we need to split these into the lift. And there is our final output. And we need to join this here. Did we meet the speed requirement for this now? Because everything is closer? Obviously we didn't meet the power. Oh, actually not that far from the power requirement. Let's see if we've met the speed requirement. I'd like to see when this kicks off and what is the slowest component. We've met the time, we haven't met the power, but that's easy because there's so much optimization we can do pretty much everywhere. This can't be optimized, this can't, well, this maybe can be optimized. Wait, let's have a look at our power at the moment. 922. If we ran a pipe along here, nope. If we ran a pipe along here and then straight down, we can get rid of this piping. Oops. And is that better? That's the same, right? Now we're 916. We need to get rid of 1 belt. Surely we can get rid of 1 belt somewhere. Ideally, we'd have to get rid of 1 belt, we'd have to turn all of this way. We could shift all of this in 1, can't we? We could shift everything down 1. Oh my god, that shift is so hard. See all this belt in the middle here? All of this can be shifted down 1. So from here, like that. Now we're gonna make sure everything works again. So that one goes in there. That goes in here. Why does that go in here? That goes in here because of this. That goes in here now. This is not working because the water pipe's been cut. This one's not working because it's not getting something. Not getting plastic. The plastic here is still correct, I believe. this thing's not getting its plastic because the plastic over here is not going in. There we go. Now that's getting its plastic. These two are coming out into here and into here, which is fine. So this thing should be getting its that. Now it's not getting either one of these because that needs to go here. This needs to go here. So now it should be getting its second material. And now we just got to figure out where the stone broke. The stone can't really be optimized. We just need to connect it. And that gets us to 903 power. And in theory, everything else remains equal. So that should be that. There we go. Everything's saturated. And we're good. We did it in 140. Nice. So that's 903 power, 5 stars, 140. We're number 5 in our solution. That's pretty good. Top 5. In terms of power, we're number 7. In terms of space, we're number 3. What? We have one of the most space efficient solutions. Anything better than ours in the gallery? Let's have a look. 9, 12, 8, 55. This is a good solution by Shrieking Eels. He's using the other liquid. He's not using the oil. He's diffusing the other liquid, which now that I look at it, is actually a shorter pipe than piping around all the way through the back. Manufacturers, yep, that's like out here. That's correct. He's using the welder system. Oops. He's using the welder system, and then he's just bringing the welded stuff up this way to do the diffusers. I'm trying to look at where the diffusers are. His diffusers are right behind these things, which is exactly the same as mine. Somehow he's doing this with a lot less lifts. Why is he only needing 1 belt of plastic? Why have I over-engineered my plastic? Unless he's put his burners for the other plastic somewhere else. No, that's just a normal splitter, and then he's using half the amount of plastic. I must have made a mistake calculating my plastic, and I didn't actually need as much plastic as I thought. And he is using the orange belts to do this. And then he's using that to do the split. That's fine. And then the stone is coming from this side. All right, so apparently if you just did that, that's a lot better. And apparently you didn't need orange belts to get to here. Cool, very good solution. But we've got our 5 stars, so we're happy and we're ready to move on.